Welcome back to another video. It's been just over a week since I did the double race weekend at CLASH Daytona and Ironman 70.3 Indian Wells. Definitely generated a lot of hype, so here's exactly what I was thinking and how everything went. To finish off my season, I wanted to do two races in the same weekend, which I was a little bit apprehensive of in terms of actually making the flights, but when I saw that it was possible to do both CLASH Daytona and Ironman 70.3 Indian Wells, I definitely want to do both because you just don't get a chance like that too often where there's two races on the same weekend that are actually far enough apart in terms of time to be able to make it to both. So that's something I hadn't done for a number of years, and it was just going to be a fun way to finish off the season. So I did 70.3 Los Cabos. Okay day there, finished fourth, and I had 4 weeks then to sort of maintain my fitness leading into these last two races. I felt like it did go pretty well. I had good energy in my workouts. I felt good, and I knew that, I hadn't lost the fitness that I had built all year. And I was actually pleasantly surprised that my motivation wasn't as low as what it could easily be in November, because that's the hardest month of the year to train, for me at least. So Daytona showed up, stayed with Nick and Leslie. We honestly had a pretty chill situation. We were about 20 minutes from the race site. The CLASH team sort of does a great job with putting all your media obligations and photo shoots and video stuff on the same day, kind of close together. So we just had to go to the racetrack for a brief period, get ready, check out the course. Obviously the racetrack's pretty awesome, and kind of ready to do the battle against a lot of the best short course athletes in the world, and even some really good long course stars. So I knew that I had my work cut out for me with who was there, but I was really excited to give it a shot. As far as the race goes, it went well. I mean, I think I had a good day overall. The swim, I felt really good. Stayed on Nick's feet the whole time. We were kind of the first guys to get dropped from that, I guess the last guys to get dropped from that main pack that came out. And we were almost 2.5 minutes behind the leaders. So it's a pretty big deficit, but when you take into account that you've got Henry Schumann, Vincent Louis, a bunch of other really, really good swimmers, I was actually pretty happy with that swim. So then I went onto the bike, and I knew I had to be aggressive to put myself into the race. I started the bike in 17th place, and I was able to really put time into most of the field, and I did start catching quite a few guys in the last 2 or 3 laps and got off the bike in 6th. So I was happy with that. Started the run, felt fine. Not amazing, but pretty good. I do think I was a little bit stuck in sort of a 70.3 pace, and I managed to kind of hold my own for most of the run. I ran with Matt Sharp. We were kind of in a battle for 6th, more or less staying together the first 2 laps, and then starting the 3rd lap, which was the last lap, unfortunately I got like a really bad stitch in my right side of my abdomen, which was a little bit unusual. Typically if I get a stitch, it's a nutrition thing, but this time I could tell it was something else, and I really was struggling for a few minutes. I lost a ton of time. A couple guys went by me, and I was able to kind of rally and bring it back. So I had gone from a battle for 6th with Matt all the way into 9th, and then I think it was actually from turning left so much around the track on the bike and the run, I was just sort of twisted the whole time, and it eventually put strain on the right side of my abdomen, and I was able to get it back to feeling okay by like turning my body the other way, and it sort of went away, and then I was able to work my way back into 8th, which was the last prize money spot. So not a super exciting result, but I felt like I had a good day, and those guys are just really dang good. Everyone who finished ahead of me was just crushing it, and I may have been 8th anyways, even if I didn't get the cramp, so it worked out pretty well. Then I had to literally pack my stuff and leave the race site within 45 minutes to get to the Orlando airport. So get in the rental van, drive to the airport, and try to make my flight to Ontario, California. I was able to make it pretty easily actually, because there was about a 25-minute delay in the flight, which was nice. So that allowed me more time to not be as rushed, and I was able to get like a full dinner, a bunch of snacks for the plane, water. I had my compression socks on. I was in full recovery mode. But truth be told, I really wasn't expecting to have a good day in Indian Wells anyway. I was just sort of going to go for it and see what I could do. And if I blew up, then I was going to be okay with that. So I did everything I could to recover. Just did minimal training on the Saturday. Garrick was there, sort of just trained a little bit with him. 20 minutes swimming, I think I did, and maybe a 10-12 minute bike, and my legs were sore, honestly. So I thought, okay, well, there's no need to push this training. Let's take a nap and try to rest the best I can. I wasn't able to sleep too much on the Friday night after Daytona just because I didn't get to California till pretty late, but I got a good nap Saturday, and then I was super tired by like 7 p.m. the night before the race for Indian Wells, and I was able to probably fall asleep by about 8 p.m. So I actually got a pretty good night's sleep before the race, and felt pretty good race morning. So obviously the big talk was how cold it was. Air temp was like 8 or 10 Celsius, and the water was 57 Fahrenheit. Don't know what that is in Celsius, but it was cold. But I'm used to cold conditions. I kind of like cold conditions, so it worked out well for me. Swam sort of normal, second group, nothing crazy. Didn't feel overly good, so I just sort of sat in the group and tried to minimize effort, especially the last half of the swim. And I was right on Garrick's feet, which is pretty typical for me and him to be close together. And got out of the water and saw Sam Long like run past me as I was getting out of the water. I just quickly focused on good transition, which I had the fastest T1. We had to put our wetsuits in our transition bag and give it to the volunteers before we got to our bikes. So I just sort of did that quicker than everyone else because I took my wetsuit off first, then ran to the bags, grabbed the bag, and put the wetsuit in as I was running. Whereas everybody else sort of kept their wetsuits on, grabbed their bag, kept running, and then they had to stop, take their wetsuits off, and take the time to put it in. So I just sort of had that a little bit more efficient and got onto the bike. Felt okay energy-wise, but my legs were just sore, really sore. So I was glad that it took Sam a couple minutes to get past me, and I sort of had time to get my feet in. My hands and feet were totally frozen, and that was a little bit hard to manage, but got sort of into a groove, and then he went by me, and I just said, okay, I've got to stay with Sam Long. That's my chance in this race to have a really good day, and I just committed to that fully, and we really were pulling back time in the leaders. It was a big effort, but I could tell that my body was feeling, up for it. We caught the leaders 20K in or so. I put in a big effort to try to drop them, and we did get some space, but there was two guys who kind of hung with us for a while, and it took a few surges. I think second or third time Sam put in a big surge, we put eventually a gap on them, and then from there it was just trading turns with Sam and trying to put as much time in as we could, which I believe we had just about 4 minutes when we were starting the run on Lionel and Bart Arnault. So that was encouraging because I knew I would need some time. With the sore legs, I knew eventually that would get to me on the run, but I actually felt pretty solid starting the run. I ran with Sam for 5-6K and sort of actually felt pretty strong. Through the golf course section though, on some of those rolling hills, he definitely was able to use those downhills and sort of put a bit of a gap on me, and I knew that if I really pushed to stay with him, I would probably regret it later in the run, and I also knew that Lionel and Bart were going to be running fast and pushing each other, and I wanted to sort of protect second place, but if I was going to catch Sam, it was going to be on a comeback late in the run. So I just focused on, form, effort, staying in it, and I knew I wasn't having my best run ever, but I also knew it was not bad, and I just saw Sam kind of take off in the first half, and then after that I just really focused on running as best I could to hold those guys off, and I knew they were gaining, but they were running out of space, and I was able to hang on for second. Sam had a great win, and Lionel and Bart had a good battle for third. So it was a great race overall. Obviously, second place in a field of that caliber is always a good day, and to do it 2 days after Daytona was, pretty cool way to finish off the season. it was fun to hang out with Garrick, and he had a pretty solid day too. And then Tamara coming in second was really cool. She had an amazing run and almost was able to run down Paula for the win. But I've had some people ask me, "Oh, do you think you would have won if you hadn't done Daytona?" And I have no idea. Obviously, you can't say for sure what would have happened. And Sam was super strong all day, and I'm sure he had another gear anyway, even if I did run better. So, hats off to him for taking the win. And if I was redoing the whole thing, I think, looking back, obviously Indian Wells was a better course and conditions for me to have a successful day. And I think I've got a bet on myself in terms of picking the best course and conditions for me to have the good day and just pick that race and commit to it. So it was fun to do both, and I certainly don't regret it. It was awesome. But for next year, I'll probably, if I am racing that late, I'll probably just pick the one race to do. But if you want to know more about the Daytona race, RTS has a video out. Check that out. It was sort of a behind the scenes what we were doing before the race, and race weekend type video. So check that out. And yeah, now it's time for off season. I've already been in off season for about a week, and I got another week of no training. So looking forward to putting on a few pounds and not having to get up to do the daily grind for another week or so. But thanks for following along. Like and subscribe. It helps a lot. And see you at the next one.